Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. My name is Dave Roberts. I'm the policy director here at Climate Revolution Action Network. We're going to do a brief workshop on public comments and how we go about addressing them, identifying them, and using resources that exist to write a public comment. So let's get right into it. So again, we're going to talk about what is a public comment, priority items that we are paying attention to now, which we're going to use offshore wind interconnection as an example, as well as NJREAL. As I mentioned earlier, NJREAL is kind of the main priority for a lot of the environs across the state right now. And then we're going to get into what resources exist out there that will help us and help you also as a member of CRAN or as an intern or fellow or however, draft a public comment and submit one on behalf of CRAN. Yeah. So if you are unfamiliar with it, a public comment or a public comment period is typically an opportunity in which boards and departments can open up to the public and get feedback on new rules, regulations, policies, and more. This is supposed to be a time for collaboration and feedback rather than debate and argument. So, you know, it's a little bit different than testifying at the legislature. You know, similar idea, but it kind of gives you more time to do your research and also kind of like gather a bunch of people together and submit. In most cases, it's actually online as well. And I'm going to get into that shortly. So here are the examples of the two kind of mainline ones right now. We have offshore wind connection and NJREAL, and I actually have some links that I'd like to share with you guys. So this one right here, we're going to click and I'll make sure to share my screen to my new window. So here is the Board of Public Utilities public document search. So similar to how the New Jersey legislature works, each board or department has their own kind of database of how you would search up a public hearing. So in this case, we come to the BPU's page. I had this hyperlinked already to the docket number for this comment, which we're looking at right now. So this docket number, think of it like docket number akin to bill number. So this one is, I'm not going to read that out because it's redundant and long, but basically this is in the matter of the opening of a solicitation for a transmission infrastructure project to support New Jersey's offshore wind public policy. So for those that are not aware, you know, once we build all of these offshore wind farms, once all the turbines are out there, they need to produce all that energy and bring it back to the utility grid. So right now, the BPU is trying to figure out where exactly these onshore transmission cables will go, which towns they'll go through, and how exactly this process will work. So it's kind of an open public, again, open to the public. Anyone can, you know, offer a comment. So, and the thing is too, this is a public comment period. So your comment can be seen by anybody actually too. So you can kind of see the opposition right up front, and you can see others that are supporting. We see like right here, PBI letter of support, October 2024. And we also see concerns regarding high-risk power lines near residential neighborhoods. This is a local grassroots opposition group in my hometown that they're fighting against it. But so if we wanted to offer a public comment, what we would do is go to the post comments section. And this brings up a nice formatted page where we can put our name, the company or organization that you would represent, which in this case would be Climate Revolution Action Network, CRAN. You could put your phone number if you would like to, or your email. And then you have the room to make your comment and then put any attachments if applicable. And then another thing I'd like to share when it comes to using resources, when it comes to public comments, is sometimes, you know, you don't have to invent the wheel or reinvent the wheel. I'm going to share my screen again for a new page. So one of our partners, another Enviro group that we've done work with in the past, just as an example, the League of Conservation Voters, they've actually set up a kind of like a base template in a way. So this kind of helps the everyday person out in crafting a message and submitting it for this docket number. So they set theirs up through Fast Action. If we're going to set up something for CRAN, it's most likely going to come through Action Network or another means that Ben and I find. But when it comes to these kind of like base model templates, all you really have to do is just fill out your first name, last name, address, and some other contact information. The cool thing is too is that they actually do give you the opportunity to adjust the public comment that you would leave through this template or portal. Which, you know, if you are somebody that maybe you wrote a paper in undergrad on this, maybe you wrote an op-ed, which we have several people from our team did, and you want to springboard, but you want to add a little bit of something else in it, there's great resources like this that can really help you out in that regard. And then the other priority of ours, which I will bring up again to share, is NJREAL. So if you, I'm going to click on this page and share this with you guys as well. If you are not familiar, oh, great, you're seeing it already. So REAL stands for Resilient Environments and Landscapes. It's a part of NJ Pact. And Ben, if you would like to hop in and give a little bit of context that you've been working on, that'd be amazing. And then I can actually share to the group here kind of what we've been working on in that regard.
Yeah. Okay. So NJREAL or resilient, scroll up, Dave.
I got you.
Resilient Environments and Landscapes, which is part of New Jersey Pact, which is protecting against climate threats, which is 2 DEP plans that have really big significance. Like they're like massive movements that like were forced onto the state to take account of some of these things like flooding. That's what REAL really focuses on. It's about new development, what's coming in, what's being built in the next decade, 2 decades, to make sure that they're prepared for future floodplains, what it's actually going to be. The first like pieces of PACT was those flood disclosure laws. So now when you buy a house, you have to be provided the information and about the house. So this is really important stuff, and really everyone's focusing on this right now because it's going to dictate how this state looks for the future. And if we can get more into it, the better. And I think that's pretty much my wrap up, Dave.
Awesome. Would you like me to share what we've been working on?
Yeah. And we can, I think, Dave, you and I should bounce it back and forth about it for sure.
Yeah. All right. So let me get that that window shared in just a second.
Thank you everyone for coming. I know we're like kind of being boring, but like this is a little bit of a brain upload. It's very nice to have you.
Yeah. Oh, and before I actually get to exactly like what we've been working on, kind of want to give you guys like a visual, kind of an example of why does this matter? Because you might say like, like it seems kind of technical. Maybe that only applies to homeowners. You know, maybe you think, well, I'm renting, or I'm a college student, or you know, I don't live by the shore or something like that. So right here you're looking at a map of New Jersey, obviously. And this is through the NJ Adapt Flood Mapper resource from Rutgers University. Now, we all remember what just happened last week. In the last 2 weeks down in Florida, there's two massive hurricanes. The last one being one of the fastest forming and most threatening hurricanes in recent memory. Now, I'm sure for all of you that are from New Jersey, you remember Hurricane Sandy. Hurricane Sandy was terrifying. It was it's not something that I look back on with fond memories. And Ben and I, again, I say this a lot, that, you know, we were neighbors back in the day, just a couple blocks down from one another. And our neighborhood was knocked out without power for 5+ weeks. I mean, we didn't know when we were getting power back. You know, food was getting pretty scarce at some points. You know, you're kind of cut off from the world. And, you know, thankfully in our area, we haven't had that problem happen again. But, you know, with climate change and the threat of storms like this happening again, it's just, you know, that this could come back. So if you put on this filter right here, this is the Sandy surge extent. You see here that the surge really crept in pretty far to some areas that are really decently populated over in the Camden County area, Atlantic County, especially Ocean County, Monmouth County, and even along the corridor up here. Now, if we ever get something like that again, I mean, we saw Hurricane Ida back in 2021 really affect it, like the New Brunswick region very heavily. And now I'm going to show you something a little scarier, unfortunately. If we were ever hit with a Category 4 hurricane, this is the severity that we'd be hit with, even stronger than Hurricane Sandy. This is something that we need to prepare for. We need to be proactive about this. You know, places that are inland that were once known as safe havens, such as this region here. You know, if our Category 4 hurricane, when it hits, it's going to be devastating, and we need to be ready for this. Climate change and climate disasters are something that we need to be proactive about, not reactive about. So my spiel ends there, that NJREAL is important, that we need to start investing now, and we need, as climate activists, we as residents of New Jersey, we as people that just live near the shore and even far away from the shore, we need to advocate and call for you know, policies that will protect us, that will take climate change seriously. So there's that. And now I want to show you guys what exactly Ben has been working on with our team over at CRAN. So Ben, you want to hop back in and kind of get into what we've been working on?
Boink. So basically, this is like, in essence, like a public comment in its very most intense form to a degree. I mean, it can get a little bit more intense, but this is pretty locked in. So what you're kind of seeing here is me having gone through an 1,000-page document and a few others, and pulled out some key things. Important thing about a public comment, sometimes you can't do it all, buddy. You have to choose your thing that you really care about within this, because honestly, most of us could go on forever.
For context there, I believe the first offshore wind solicitation doc was, what, 1,400 pages long or something like that? Like, it was a couple summers ago. So yeah, it gets intense.
And that's the more reason for more of us to do this, so we can hit more bases. But I think I kind of broke it down in a few little spots. Dave, if we want to hop into some of these and just like quickly go over it and then move into the other stuff, because whatever. I think the big one is like in making sure whatever we're doing with these flood hazards, we're speaking on something, so something can get watered down in the process of the rulemaking. Really talking about we have to do this, like for real. supporting within planning and development for the state, some transit-oriented development, and just like encouraging that on the state level. Same with clean energy incentives, making sure environmental justice in overburdened communities are like considered in the impact of what development is happening, with impact statements, community engagement, and making sure we prioritize funding. And then we even have stuff about the urban heat resilience, because this has been the focus of a lot of people up in North Jersey, just dealing with these urban heat island effects, and being able to say, hey, if we're going to build new houses, let's use some heat reflected building materials to reduce the temperature. And it really does do stuff. And for the now, there's cooling centers, there's shade structures. So this is all about planning for the next generation, right? And I think what Dave's going to transition into here is like, this is an organization. So obviously there's a lot here, but when you're writing a public comment, there's a lot to look at, and you can choose one of these and really show, like, provide an experience that happened to you and why something like this needs to be strong. And it really does make an impact. Like, there's a reason why every single organization in the entire state that does environmental work is calling for people to submit as many public comments. It's because this is going to dictate what this state looks like for real.
Yeah. And then, like, one thing I'd like to just tag on to what Ben was saying too, when it comes to how, we're an organization, we're a group of people. I mean, we have a like a vast leadership team, and a lot of interns and fellows and people that want to get involved. So we were able to kind of look at a public comment like this, while sometimes other organizations, they might kind of prioritize, how many comments that might be a little bit less in depth that they get out. So what I would love to do, to kind of get you all involved here, not just today but moving forward, because the NJREAL public comment deadline, I believe, is in the first week of November. So we have a couple of weeks to kind of work together as a team on this. But I'd like to know from you all, if you're able to either speak up or put into the chat kind of what is like a subject area in the context of resilience planning, is something that you have personal experience with, that you can see applying to this, that you would like to kind of craft almost like your version of this public comment. And if we get like different versions of like a technical comment, we can send this out to our entire base. So we're really covering a interdisciplinary like lineup for this. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys if you would like to give me some feedback or give me some ideas that you have. And I might peek on you too. So Mariana, you've kind of been our superstar for the last month. Do you have like a personal experience or like a personal interest or subject area that you think that you could or that you would like to contribute toward this?
I'm not like, I don't have anything in particular in mind, but I live in a really coastal like community, and it was the same thing like with Sandy. Even the like buildings that were like built on stilts and were like supposed to be flood proof weren't actually. So that's like a very vague, it's not very specific, but like just like an idea.
No, that's great. I mean, I think an important angle that can also be taken when it comes to public comment is you could say, from a youth lens, you've already like witnessed like storms early on in your life, and you could even put your concern in how, maybe like growing up in your neighborhood, people have said, oh, like if like the houses are going to be fine, like, oh, they withstood Sandy, or sometimes we see a lot of the schools up and down the coast of New Jersey were hit really hard from Sandy. And you might want to say, hey, like, growing up, I hope that my alma mater is taken care of, and at the schools too, because they're hubs of the community. They should be protected too when it comes to NJREAL. So good, like that's something that you could definitely channel into. And again, like we're gonna set up like working meetings too over the next couple of weeks, and this can be an opportunity for us to like actually get something on the books. I'm gonna go with Lisa, if you would like to say kind of what is like an area that you might have some experience or interest in to apply to the resilient environments and landscapes. Comment.
Yeah, I was actually gonna raise my hand. So I don't know if this directly applies either, but you said something that like, is like personally like frustrating. And it all comes back to like single-use plastic for me and litter. I don't know. Because I was like driving down 195 and, I've passed plastic bags and cardboard boxes flying in every direction as I'm driving home, and that shouldn't be. That's incredibly infuriating. And yeah, just the single-use plastic and the overuse of it.
Yeah, no, I think that there's definitely like an intersection that can be made. Getting some feedback there.
Okay.
Let me just mute you real quick. Sorry. Or if you can mute yourself, that'd be great. Sorry about that. But yeah, no, I think that you could probably find an intersection between, overconsumption, litter, or how we kind of handle waste too. I mean, one thing I can think of immediately is our waste facilities. If a waste facility gets hit with a big storm or a storm surge or some type of natural disaster, that can really put a hamper on a community, not only in terms of recovery, but also if you have like a landfill that is now basically seeping all of its, toxic waste into your local waterways, that can be irreparable damage. So I think that's actually something that could definitely be explored when it comes to this. Jacqueline, do you have anything that you think could be a specific public comment?
Yeah, hi, my name is Jackie. Jacqueline is fine too. I just want to preface this by saying this is probably the first time I've ever saw any sort of climate action, and I feel like I'm delving into something new, just to let you know, because I am a bio major, but I don't know, I've never gotten into action of any sort. When it comes to public comment, I don't have anything that I went through, but I do remember I live near Elizabeth, New Jersey. And I remember, I don't know if it was a year or two ago, I had a family friend who was living on this one street that's very well known to like flood easily.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 years ago, the flooding was really insane. And I think somebody on the street corner died. I think 2 people died on the street corner.
Oof.
And it was just really crazy because nobody really expected that.
Yeah.
I think you always expect that from, like beach towns or something like that, but not near where we were.
Yeah. I mean, just I don't know if you're able to see the screen right now, but like,
yeah,
that's the damage that would come to Elizabeth if a Cat 4 hit.
Yeah.
Like that's deadly.
Yeah, no, it's scary. And I don't know, the way my family friend was explaining it, she was saying like her whole entire basement was flooded during this like storm. And they were just so scared because they didn't know what to expect. It was the first time it had happened. The whole street got flooded. They didn't know if they had to like leave or something. It was like late at night, and I don't know, it's scary stuff. And unfortunately, I feel like it might be bound to happen where, we get extremely, worse flooding than this. So that's something I could put in a public comment. I've never made a public comment, and that's why I'm kind of here to see like what that really looks like.
Of course, yeah. Were you here? You were here the whole time, right? Like you got to see how I was running through like the docket and everything.
Yeah. I saw like
Okay.
when you guys were going before with the offshore wind and the NJREAL thing.
Yeah, awesome.
So and in the end here, you're gonna get a document emailed to all of you that is basically like a base more public, like testament, public comment and then you're going to email it back to us, and then we're going to send all of these together as our public comment for the organization, because these individual things, they tell a story, and that's what really matters here. So it'll be really easy. You can plug in a lot, and I'll make it really easy for you. But Dave, anything?
No, that's great. And then last one is Andreas. I see that Andreas is in the call now. Do you have anything that you'd like to kind of say, either personally or that you think should be included on a public comment for NJREAL?
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. Great to see you again.
No, it will be interesting to analyze the preventive measures on possible climate change in my area. In this case, New Brunswick, North Brunswick, and surrounding areas. It's very interesting to maybe we're gonna share some public comments because I need to check the intervention between the political and the community in the environment, because in North Brunswick I don't see any about this. When something happened, floodings on anything, I don't see any intervention before.
Right.
Preventive, no reaction. You said the last time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were just talking earlier how, just in 2021, I mean, here I can pull the picture up of Hurricane Ida when it hit the New Brunswick area. This image of I forget the exact route this is. I believe this is Route 18. Just completely underwater. Like, you wouldn't even have thought that this could have happened. Like, I wouldn't have. When I first saw this, I was shocked that this could happen to like the New Brunswick region. And that's great that you feel like kind of like energized to be like, let's be proactive about this. Let's stop being reactive. Let's not wait for the next Ida. Let's not wait for the next Sandy. Yeah. So that's great input.
And something about New Brunswick that's kind of interesting is they are the first municipality in the state to create a stormwater utility. Just like there's a wastewater utility for the shit water, and one for your drinking water. There's also one for storm waste, because I come across it in my full-time job that these places that are really not designed for stormwater, all of that, are seeing like absurd, off the charts amounts of water flowing through the system. Like, I'm talking tens of millions more than there should be of gallons. And it's so very interesting. So tax dollars are going to be going to, fund a stormwater utility that can, better work to manage a lot of the stormwater to prevent minor flooding and major flooding in the future.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a part of this. The town fought for these flooding protections, right?
Yes, because in 2021, when the storm was here, nothing about prevention. I don't hear anything about the municipality, the township say from prevention or something like that. No, just reacting after everything's like a piece of garbage. Yeah,
we hear it. Yeah, it's frustrating. You would hope that your representatives have your best interest or take as much initiative in it. So it's good that they have the stormwater utility now, as Ben was saying, but we hope that it doesn't stop there. We want keep the foot on the gas when it comes to climate resiliency investment. But yeah, so again, we kind of like went through this. We showed it. Again, we've supported offshore wind in the past with other public comments. Some of our team right now is working on op-eds to kind of call for more assistance for it, and again, or more support for it. And I showed you guys the current docket that's open for public, that's open for the offshore wind interconnection. And then we just shared about what we're working on for NJREAL. And Ben said that, after this meeting, you're all going to get an email about the template that we're working on. And you guys can all kind of add what you can and would like to add. And, ask us for help with it too. Like if you want to go back and forth with us, like let's do that. Again, we meet every other Thursday. So and we don't have to always meet just then. If you want a one-on-one with us, we have our working group meetings as well to talk about it. We'd love to. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to go over tonight. Ben, do you have anything else that you'd like to add? And then we can take like a quick Q&A if anyone has any.
No, this is absolutely perfect. You guys did great, and you sat there and listened to us yap. But you can really do something here, and we're really excited for all these new faces joining the call, because we want to do this and with you and help you every step of the way. But yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, thank you all so much for showing up, and I'll hang around for any questions, if there are any.
I have a quick question.
Sure. What's up?
So you brought up the schools. So I was just asking, like for NJREAL, I remember one thing in particular that we have a lot because I live in such a coastal city, is that not only just for Sandy, but when we get a lot of rain, a lot of times like there's no way of transporting to school and the bus systems don't work anymore. So like even on like sometimes even when there's like the weather isn't even that bad, our school gets shut down. Is that something that we could bring up in that email you were just talking about?
Absolutely.
I think it almost becomes even a point within like the analytical nature of those transportation points. But like obviously,
Definitely.
yes, like I would want you to talk about that like in that pathos like I experienced at Energy, but I think I didn't even think about that and like should have, because I totally get that. Almost incorporating that into this transit thing. Like, what are we going to do for schools and all of these things? And maybe just taking, I think it's like 8.3 or something, and being like, incorporate considerations for schools and whatnot for transportation. But yeah.
Great question. That was amazing. Any other questions from anyone else?
Hey, I was just wondering in general, you guys have weekly meetings, and then I was just wondering more about your organization, like are public comments and other things, is that like the main focus that you guys do?
So this is your first meeting, right? Oh, you got it? Okay, executive director.
Yeah. Wait, let me turn off the recording. I feel like we're done here.
Yeah.
We're done here. Manage recording. Stop recording.